Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another segment of J Culture. How you guys doing? I trust you guys are doing great. I just want to say a very big thank you to many of you who have been subscribing, sharing, liking, turning on your notification for new videos. I just want to say thank you so much. I am so excited for today's class. In today's class, we're going to be learning another beautiful topic. We're going to be learning the 6-panel Bustier blouse. Many of us must have seen it, but we actually don't know the right name for it. Okay, it's more like the 6 pieces skirts. Okay, but it's a little bit different from the 6 pieces skirt. So we're going to dive in right now, but before we do that, let's take out the measurements we'll be using. The bust circumference is 40. The shoulder to waist is 18 inches. The waist circumference is 33. The hip circumference is 47. The shoulder measurement is 16. The full length of the blouse is 25. The underbust length is 14. The underbust circumference is 33. The bust span is 8 inches. And the bust point, that's the shoulder to bust point, is 10 inches. Firstly, we're going to draw out our guideline. We've already done a guideline that will be serving as our shoulder line. So we're going to do same at the side. Okay. This will serve as the center front. So now we're going to place our measurements. We're going to take down the chest line. We'll be using 8 inches for the chest line. Okay. Then we'll take the shoulder to nipple point, which is 10.5 inches. The shoulder to waist, which is 18 inches. Then the full length of the blouse is 25 inches. Then we'll take 1 inch for folding allowance. I'm just going to extend it. After that, we're going to place the shoulder measurements. Firstly, I'll just label them: chest line, bust point line, under bust line, waistline, full length. So we're going to place the shoulder measurements, which is 16. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. Addition of half an inch for sewing seam allowance. Okay, we'll take it down to the chest line. Then we'll rule out. Then we'll come to the neck area. We'll take our neck measurement 3 by 3. Then use a curve ruler to rule it. Then we'll come to this area. We'll take it down by 1.5 inches. We'll connect it to the neckline. Having done that, we'll mark the midpoint of the armhole length. We have 6.5 inches, so divide it by 2 to get the midpoint. We're having 3 1/4. So we'll take it in by 3/4 inch. Then we'll take the measurement of the bust circumference, which is 40. 40 divided by 4 will give us 10 inches. Mark 10 inches here. So we're going to use our curve ruler, that's the armhole ruler, to connect the midpoint, the 3/4 inch, and the bust line. Now we'll come to the waistline. We'll take the circumference of the waist. Circumference of the waist is 33. 33 divided by 4 is 8 1/4. So mark 8 1/4 here. The hip circumference is 47. Divided by 4 will give us 11 3/4. We'll mark 11 3/4 here. Then we'll connect it with our ruler. Having done that, we'll come to the bust point line. We'll take a bust span. A bust span is 8 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. So mark 4 inches here. Take it down to the full length of the blouse. Now we're going to take the dart. So we'll be using 2 inches dart intake, okay? So on the under bust line, we're going to take in by 1 inch here and 1 inch here. So we'll take it down to the waist. Then on the hem line, we'll take it in by 1/4 inch here and 1/4 inch here to make it half an inch dart intake. So we have to replace them. Half an inch here, 2 inches here, and 2 inches here. After adding the allowance, so we're going to connect like so. So this is where we'll end it, okay? Then we'll come to the armhole area. You can do this for any of the princess style line that you desire to use. For this, I'm going to be using the armhole princess style line, okay? Remember, we have the classic princess style line, the armhole princess style line, and the neckline princess style line, okay? Please do not forget, you can go back to our previous videos to go check them out, okay? So I'll be using the armhole princess style line. I'm going to come here on the midpoint. I'll take it up by 3/4 inch. Then on the midpoint, I'll take it down by 3/4 inch. So calculation will be 1.5 inches dart intake, okay? So with our curve ruler, I'm going to place our curve ruler like so. It's going to be on the bust point line. It's going to connect to the armhole area. Then I'm going to give it a curve rule. So this is what we'll be having for now. I'm just going to extend that leg because we'll be using it later. So I haven't done that. Now we're going to take our whatever that intake we've taken here. So we're going to add it back to the measurement so that our measurement will not be shortened. That's why I said let's wait before we connect everything, okay? So here we'll be having 1/2 inch. So we'll place it back, the 1/2 inch, then we'll connect. So please remember, your pattern is not supposed to have any sharp area. Everything needs to be curvy. So you can either use your straight ruler to connect like so, then you make a slight curve, or you can just use your slight curve ruler edge to make the rule, okay? So we're going to take the measurement of this first dart leg and also the measurement of the second dart leg to see if both are the same measurement, okay? So here we're going to start with this one. From this armhole line, we're going to start taking the measurement. We'll take it down to the bust line. So we have 7.5 inches. So we're going to write 7.5 so we don't forget. Then we'll come to this second dart leg and take the measurements. If it's the same thing, we'll be having, we have 6 inches for this. So now we're going to place our tape ruler like so that we'll mark that 7.5 inches, okay? So mark 7.5 inches here. Then we use our curve ruler to connect it. So this is what we'll be having, okay? This is what we'll be having. Then we use our curve ruler to connect this also. Then we use the straight ruler to connect this. So you see, you can still use your curve ruler, okay? You just do it like so. Make sure you place it very well so that it will not be too curvy. Okay, see, we are having the same thing. So here you just Make sure it's correct, accurate with the other line. Okay, having done that, we're going to add our sewing seam allowance, which is 2 inches. 2 inches here. So having done that, we're going to cut out. So this is what we'll be having for the front bodies. I'm just going to label them. Center front, side front. Okay, now we're going to place it on another paper so that we can add our extension at the waistline. Haven't held it down with a tape, so we're going to draw out the lines. This is the waistline. I'm going to draw it out. And this is the under bust line. This is the bust point line. This is the chest line. So having done that, where we're going to have the extension is going to be from the waistline. It's going to be from the waistline. Okay, you can decide to take it up from the under bust or at the midpoint between the under bust and the waistline, depending on where you want your flare to come out from, to flare out. Okay, so here we're going to be taking 5 inches at the hem line, 5 inches plus half an inch for sewing seam allowance. Okay, yeah, I would like to take it at the midpoint of the under bust and the waist. So here we have 4 inches. To get the midpoint, you divide it by 2. So I'm going to add half an inch to it for the seam allowance. From there, I'm just going to add it upward for seam allowance. So this is what we'll be having. Now we can cut out, okay? So I've placed the side front on another paper and I've drawn out the lines. So all we need to do is to place the inches that would need for the flare. So I'm going to use 5.5 inches here. That's 5 inches, then half an inch for sewing seam allowance. Okay, so here I'll make it half an inch. Then I'll come to the midpoint between the under bust and the waistline. We have 4 inches here, so divide by 2 to get the midpoint. So I'm going to mark half an inch here, half an inch here. So at the back of the, like at the side of this other panel, you can decide to also add 3 inches, or you can decide to leave it this way. Okay, because we already have 2 inches for the sewing seam allowance, so you can decide to add 3 more inches or 3.5 inches for the flare. Okay, or you can decide to leave it that way. So I'm just going to add 3.5 inches, so we'll see the difference. Okay, if you also want it to be flare at the side, so you can make it that way. So I'm going to connect it. So now we can cut out. So this is our new front panel. Okay, so please note that whatever extension you want to add to it depends on you. You can decide to add 2 inches, 3 inches, or 4 inches. It must not be 5 inches. Okay, it just depends on how you want your flare to look like. Okay, so please, it's not a fixed measurement or a fixed formula. Okay, so this is what we'll be having for the front panel. So if you sew it like so, you're going to get a flare at the side of the bodice. Okay, make sure you put your fabric, you place your fabric on fold before you cut out. This actually consumes a lot of fabric, also with the cis gauze skirts. Okay, so now we're going to draft the back panel. So we'll be drafting the back panels. Firstly, we're going to rule out the guideline. This will serve as a shoulder line. This will serve as the side or the center back. Now we'll place the zipper allowance, which is 1 inch. So we're going to rule out. After ruling out, we'll start taking the measurement. Note this is zipper allowance. That's zip allowance right there. So we'll take the chest line. Okay, firstly we'll take out 1 inch. We'll be using it later. So this now becomes the new shoulder line. So from this line, we'll take the chest line, which is 8 inches. Then the bust point line, which is 10.5 inches. The under bust, which is 14 inches. The waist, which is 18. The full length of the blouse, 25. 1 inch folding allowance. We're going to extend it. chest line, bust point, under bust line, waistline, full length. Now we'll take the measurements of the shoulder, which is 18 plus half an inch, 8.5 inches. We take it down to the chest line. We connect it with a straight ruler. Haven't done that, we'll take it down by 1.5 inches to get our slope. We'll come to the neckline. We'll take it 3 inches here. We'll take the depth. You can use 3/4 or 1 inch. So we'll connect it with a curve ruler. Then you connect the slope line. So this is what we'll be having. You just mark the midpoint of the armhole. Now we'll take the bust measurement, which is 40 divided by 4 is 10 inches. Mark 10 inches here. We'll connect it with the curve ruler. Now we'll take the waist measurement, which is 33 divided by 4 will give us 8.25. 8.25 here. The hip circumference is 47 divided by 4, 11.75. Then we'll connect Haven't done that, we'll take the bust span, which is 8 inches divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. We'll take it down. So connect it with a straight rule. Now we'll come to the waistline to take our dart. So we'll take it in here by half an inch. Then we'll take it in here by half an inch. Then we'll come to the full length of the blouse, the hemline. We'll take it in by 1/4 inch. Here 1/4 inch, making it half an inch. So we have to replace it back. Here is 1 inch. We'll place it back by 1 inch. Then we'll connect Having done that, we'll come to the armhole. All we need to do is to make a curve. Okay. So this is what we'll be having. We just connect. So here we'll be taking this dart to the bust line. Okay, but firstly we have to take it down by 1 inch. Okay, take it down by 1 inch, then we'll connect it there. From the bust line you take it down by 1 inch. This is what we'll be having. Now we'll place our sewing seam allowance, which is 2 inches. So we'll mark 2 inches here. So now we'll come to the waistline to take out the zip bulge. That bulge always gets at the zip area. We're going to take it out. So now we'll take it in by 1 inch on the waistline. On the under bust line, you can take it in by 1 inch or 3/4 inch. Then you connect it like so. Connect it to the neck. So now we're going to take the new zip allowance, which is 1 inch. So now we'll come to the waistline, okay? We'll take it down by half an inch. We'll take it up by half an inch. So connect it to the waistline. Having done that, we'll come to the shoulder. We'll take it up by 1 inch for the sewing seam allowance, the front and the back bodies. Make sure the measurement is accurate. You can just make a curve with your hand. Then on the new shoulder line, you just take it out by 1/4 inch and make a slight curve. Okay, so this is what we'll be having. Now all we need to do is to overlap this area before we cut. We overlap this area. So this is the back panel. All we need to do now is to transfer it to another paper so that we can have the extension of the flare that we want. Now we place our center back pattern on another paper. All we need to do is to take the 5.5 inches extension. So we'll mark it here. Mark it here. Then we'll come to the midpoint between the underbust and the waist. To get the midpoint, we divide by 2. So this becomes the midpoint. Then we'll connect it. Before we connect it, we'll take our half an inch sewing seam allowance. Okay. Now we're going to connect. So we're going to measure. Let's see what we have. Here we have 10.5 inches. So let's take measurement of the front. Let's see what we have here. So this is the point, the midpoint between the underbust and the waist. So we're going to take measurements of it. Here we have 11.75 inches. So make sure that we end up having 11.75 inches. So place our tape here to get the 11.75 inches. So the flare we have to start from here, half an inch below the underbust line. So that is where the flare is going to start from. So we're going to take our half an inch sewing seam allowance and connect it back to the hemline. Haven't done that, so we'll continue to place our half an inch sewing seam allowance. Okay, make sure its extension is accurate. So this is what we'll be having. For the back now, we can cut out. So we've transferred the side back to another paper. Now we're going to take the extension 5.5 inches here. Then we'll mark the midpoint between the underbust and the waist. So here is the midpoint. We'll take it out by 1/2 inch. Then we'll connect it. Now we're going to measure it if it's up to 11 3/4 inches. Here we have 10 3/4 inches, so we need one more 1 inch to complete it. So we're going to take it up by 1 inch and bring it out and add a 1/2 inch. Then we'll connect it back to the hemline. So we're going to measure it if it's up to it. Now we have 11 3/4 inches. So all we need to do now is to add our sewing seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch. So this is what we'll be having for the 6-panel bustier blouse. Please do not forget that this side you are supposed to place your fabric on fold so that you get 2 pieces of this, so it will make it 3 pieces. Then this side also you are supposed to make your fabric unfold, you get another pieces of these. Okay, so this is all about the 6-panel bustier blouse. See you in our next class. Please do not forget to share, like, subscribe, and turn on your notification button for more videos. Thank you and God bless you.